I didn't see it. Not at first. I took a walk around midnight, like I've done 100 times before. I didn't hear anything. I didn't feel anything. The streets were empty, my earbuds were in, and I was focused on putting one foot in front of the other. But the second I stepped back into my apartment, I knew I wasn't alone. I closed the door behind me, locked it, and kicked off my shoes. That's when I saw the first sign. A single, wet footprint on the floor. Barefoot, long, pale toes, planted right in the middle of the hallway, like someone had stepped out of the dark and just stood there, watching. It wasn't mine. I checked my shoes, bone dry, no wet socks, nothing. And I live alone.
I stared at it, just standing there with my keys still in my hand. My apartment was dead silent, too silent. I held my breath, listening for anything. Creaking floorboards, breathing, a shift in the air. Nothing. I moved forward cautiously and reached for the light switch in the hall. It didn't turn on. I flipped it a few times. Nothing. The bulb overhead just hung there, dark and useless. Then I heard it. A low, dragging breath, coming from the other end of the hall. It didn't sound human. It wasn't labored or tired. It sounded patient, calm, wet almost. Like whatever it was had lungs, but hadn't used them in years. I froze. My mouth went dry. I felt my fingers curl into fists without thinking. The sound came again, just slightly closer.
I reached for my phone in my pocket. Dead. Screen black. No battery. No warning. A second footprint appeared on the floor, right in front of the first, but no one stepped down. It was just there, like someone invisible was walking toward me. Then the TV turned itself on behind me. Loud static blasted through the room, so loud it made my ears ring. I turned slowly, too scared to run, too confused to process what the hell was happening. White noise filled the screen, but the sound wasn't random. It shifted, changed pitch, warbled, until it started to sound like words, like someone whispering through the static. You forgot something. My stomach dropped. I backed away. The footprint trail was heading toward me now, one by one, soaking into the wood. My hallway lights flickered and then burst, shattering glass onto the floor. And from the far end of the hallway, where my bedroom door stood open, something laughed, quietly, like it was trying not to wake the house. The laugh wasn't loud. That's what made it worse. It sounded like it was smiling. I backed into the kitchen, eyes locked on the hallway. The footprints had stopped halfway. No new ones appeared. But I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever made them was still standing there, just watching. I opened the drawer next to the sink and grabbed the biggest knife I had. My hand was slick with sweat, and I had to grip it with both hands just to keep it steady. That's when the lights went out. All of them. Every room. The TV died too, cut off mid-static like someone had pulled the cord. Sudden, total darkness. Then, knock, knock, knock. It came from inside the apartment. Not the front door, not the windows. From the closet in the hallway. 3 soft, spaced-out knocks, like someone with all the time in the world was asking permission to come out. I didn't move. The air felt thicker, like it was being pulled inward, like something was drawing breath from the walls themselves. Then a second knock, faster this time. Then scratching, fingernails maybe, or something worse, dragging slow circles across the inside of the closet door. I wanted to run, but every step felt like I was walking in syrup. My legs were heavy, my chest felt hollow. Every instinct I had was screaming, "Don't open it, don't even look at it." I made it back to the living room. My phone buzzed. The screen lit up for the first time all night. Unknown number. The message said, "Whatever you do, do not acknowledge it." Then a second message, instantly, "You're not supposed to know it's there." My hands were shaking. I dropped the phone. Behind me, the closet door creaked open. I heard it swing slowly, scraping against the floorboards. I turned toward the hallway. There was no shape, no form, just darkness, blacker than the rest of the dark. It bled out of the closet and onto the floor, like ink spilling from a bottle. I blinked, and it was gone. So was the wet footprint trail. The TV came back on, but this time the screen showed my hallway, live feed. The same angle I was standing in. But in the reflection, there was a figure behind me. Tall, thin, unmoving. I spun around. Nothing. When I looked back at the screen, the figure was still there. Closer now. Closer to me. I screamed and yanked the TV's power cord from the wall. This time, it stayed off. I turned every light back on. They worked again. Everything looked normal. But I wasn't. Something had changed. I could feel it in the air, in the way the shadows on the walls bent just slightly in the wrong direction, in the silence between my own breaths. Something followed me home, and now it knew I knew. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even sit down. I turned on every light in the apartment, bedroom, bathroom, closet, even the oven. I opened every drawer and cabinet, checked every corner, every shadow. There was nothing there, but the silence had weight, like the apartment itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what I'd do next. I stayed in the kitchen with the knife in one hand and my back against the fridge. I kept checking the time, but hours passed like minutes. I think I blacked out at some point. Maybe I blinked too long and slipped into something that wasn't quite sleep. I woke up at 6:42 a.m. with the lights still on and the apartment quiet. The relief didn't last. When I walked into the hallway, the mirror hanging by the coat rack had fogged up completely. There was a word written across it in long, streaky lines, like a finger had traced it through the mist. Mine. I rubbed it away, but it came back 10 seconds later. Mine. I covered it with a towel. I tried to go about my day. I showered with the curtain half open. I kept checking my reflection in every surface. TV screen, microwave door, even the damn toaster. Every time I saw myself, I held my breath, waiting for it to blink when I didn't. By noon, I was starting to convince myself I imagined it all. Lack of sleep, stress, maybe I was dreaming harder than I thought. Then I checked my phone again. A new message from that same unknown number. It's not the dark that's dangerous, it's what you bring back from it. I stared at the message for a long time, then deleted it. It felt like looking at it too long would open something I couldn't close. That night, I tried sleeping with the light on. I laid in bed, watching the ceiling, eyes wide, listening for any sound that didn't belong. Around 3:12 a.m., the bulb above me dimmed on its own. Not all the way, just slightly, like someone was slowly putting their hand over it. Then I felt the mattress shift. The dip was small, but real, like someone had gently sat at the foot of the bed. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Something cold touched my ankle. It didn't grab, just rested there, like a hand trying to remember how to hold something. My chest tightened. Then I heard a whisper, low and sickly sweet, right next to my ear. You left the door open. I leapt out of bed and turned every light back on. No one there. The closet was closed. The front door was locked. Everything was exactly how I left it. Except now, the mirror in the hallway wasn't fogged. It was cracked, right down the middle. And my reflection? Still smiling. The next day, I didn't leave the apartment. I called in sick. I unplugged the TV. I took down every mirror I owned and shoved them in the closet with a chair wedged against the door. The thing hadn't shown itself again, not fully, but I could feel it. The shadows in the corners of the room seemed to breathe. The air moved like it had weight. At 4:17 p.m., the power went out. No storm, no warning, just a pop from the fuse box and darkness. I lit every candle I could find. I wrapped a towel around the base of the closet door. I sat in the living room with my back to the wall and my eyes on every exit. I was done pretending I didn't believe it. This thing, whatever it was, it didn't want to kill me. It wanted in. It wanted to be me. And it was patient. At 1:06 a.m., I heard footsteps in the hallway again. Not soft this time. Not shy. They were deliberate, heavy, heel to toe. Then came the voice. Mine. Not an imitation. Not distorted. Exactly mine. From just outside the room, it said, "You're tired. Let me take it from here." I didn't respond. It said it again. "You're tired. Let me take it from here." I gripped the knife and stayed silent. "Come on," it said, more playful now. "You're not doing that great on your own anyway." I held my breath. The door to the hallway creaked open. I looked up. It was me. Same clothes, same face, but wrong. My version of me didn't cast a shadow. Its feet didn't touch the floor. And its eyes, my eyes, were completely black. It tilted its head and smiled like we were sharing a joke no one else would get. "You're going to break eventually," it said. "Might as well let go now. Easier for both of us." I stood up, knife in hand. It raised its hand too. I said, "Why me?" It didn't hesitate. You looked back. For a moment, everything went quiet. No breathing, no creaking floors. Even the candles seemed to freeze mid-flicker. And then I laughed. It surprised both of us. Not a scared laugh, not panicked, just tired. Like someone who's been on the edge too long and decided not to care if they fall. I said, "You know what?" It blinked. "Next time," I said, "let the dark walk itself home." And I lunged. I don't remember the fight exactly. There wasn't really one. It didn't scream. It didn't bleed. The knife didn't go into anything solid. It was like trying to stab steam. But it recoiled. It didn't like the contact. It hissed and shimmered and cracked like a mirror under pressure. Then it vanished. Gone. No body, no smoke. Just gone. The lights came back on. The power returned. My phone buzzed. One last message from the unknown number. "It will try again. Next time, don't answer." I still haven't taken the mirrors back out. I don't walk at night anymore. And if I ever hear footsteps behind me again, I won't look back. Because now I understand what happens when you invite the dark in. And if anyone ever asks, I'll tell them the truth. I took a walk in the dark. Something followed me home. And I'll leave them with this. Next time, let the dark walk itself home.
Now it's your turn. What would you have done if the dark followed you home? Come back by the fire, and we'll see if the shadows answer. Oh, and before I forget, check the links in the description. You'll find where to share your own story and a way to help keep the fire burning.